Welcome to pullthepinalready.com. Look, I said .com. What am I talking about? Pull the pin already. War Room edition. Like, what am I talking about? I'm like on
Just
drugs
giving
this
it,
last week or something. I don't know what's going
give,
on.
giving the site a good plug.
Yeah, but we're not on the website. So I can't say welcome to .com. That's ridiculous.
Oh, they can go
But
to
I'm glad you're here.
pullthepinalready.com and find us.
They sure can, and then get involved and get on this episode with us. That's the only way to get a link. You can't just join out of thin air. So get in contact. You're a veteran. We love to hear your opinion.
Well, that's Jim, and I'm Nate. In case you guys can't read our names at the bottom of the screen there.
Or you haven't seen us before because, like, we're famous. No, we're infamous. Yeah, no,
Rumble,
not yet.
Bumble famous.
Rumble. Yeah, Rumble's pretty good. I think it's where we get the most activity. YouTube obviously doesn't like what we have to say. I'm actually surprised we're still on YouTube. So, and we probably eventually won't be for a while, but then we'll lose our 15 subscribers. Actually, that one stopped a long time ago, stopped growing. So you can tell they're suppressing it. I mean, not that, we're growing on many platforms, but
We're working our way.
Yes, we'll get there. Because, we got a lot to say because there's a lot of headlines that come out every day and we got a lot of opinions on them because we're just like regular people, except we've got experience in the military and we've been a lot of places. We've seen a lot of things. We've done a lot of things. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at some of these headlines and we're going to give our opinion based on our experience. Obviously not by our knowledge because we don't always read the headlines.
Supposed to read them?
Might.
I read the headlines, just not the articles.
Right. I'll even read the headline for you just in case you don't get it. So Biden reveals first pardons and commutations.
They all do it. Every president does it. I didn't see what his first pardons and commutations were, but nothing new. Every president's done it as far as back as I've been alive and probably before me.
Yeah, I thought they do it at the end, though. I thought they do it on their way out the door.
Maybe he's on his way out.
Maybe there's something we don't know. But yeah, I thought they do it at the door. I talked about it.
I thought they did the questionable ones on their last day of office. I thought they did it throughout their terms as pardon.
You're right. You're probably right. I just don't pay attention to them because it's usually question ones that attention. But any of them, I mean, do you think that this should be a thing?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we know the justice system is not the best system out there and it needs to be fixed. So, and some of these people that are being pardoned now were in there for marijuana crimes 20 years ago. I mean, come on. That
but I mean, there's still some sense of it. Think of the money and the time and all the things that went into this case and this thing, and all you got to do is just have a president say, "Oh yeah, no, that didn't matter."
Some of them don't nowadays, so.
Well, I mean, there should be some sort of. I think the process, if it's going to be the process, it should be expanded. Like it should have to get the approval of, somebody in Congress and Senate, or maybe it does. I don't even know the process. Maybe the process is like that.
And
maybe I think there could be veto powers by.
And I think if a law changes and someone is in jail because of that law, they should be let go. If that law is not in effect anymore, they should be let go because obviously that law was not kept for a reason.
Sure. Right. Oh, I agree. Yeah, we also know too, the problem was that people were getting punishment that didn't fit the crime.
Right. And I think,
that's
like, I don't know what these pardons are, but most of the president's pardons are for crimes like that, like the 40-year marijuana crime. That's just stupid. Just let those guys go and girls.
Right.
And whatever they identify as.
Did you see that article? I don't have that. But did you see that one? There was a inmate that went to a female prison because he identifies a woman, and 2 prisoners came up pregnant. Imagine that.
Wow. So he wasn't a woman. He just identified as one, but
Well,
still had the male genitalia to produce sperm to knock up women, or maybe they weren't
and
women. I don't
imagine
know what
that,
they were.
like other
I don't
women
know what
were
they were.
interested, right?
Yeah, surprise.
It's crazy. So, all
Let's
right, we'll go to
pardon
the
this.
next
Let's,
one.
let's pardon that. Yeah, let's pardon that headline. Go to the next one.
Yeah, Russia warns of very significant World War III risk.
Besides, and I don't even know if their nuclear is any good. If their army is as good as it's been against the Ukraine, I don't think anybody's scared of Russia anymore. Now,
Yeah,
if the other people, the Chinese are on their side, and I don't know who else is communist. And they know scared North Korea's army, that's for sure. So they don't matter.
you know what I think is funny about this? The very significant. Like this reminds me of the I double dog dare you, I triple dog dare you. Like, like wasn't this a warning before? Like, did we already hear these warnings?
Yeah, as soon as you touch a NATO country,
Hostile.
they're gonna get the shit knocked out of them.
It's just funny because, like, what's very significant even mean? Is it imminent? Like, of course it would be.
Yeah, isn't all war very significant?
Exactly. So
That's a threat. Like
we'll do this
North
one
Korea's
too. We'll transition real quick.
oh, there you go.
No, go ahead. You can finish it because it's the same thing. This is about China.
Well, I'd say North Korea threatens missile stuff all the time, but it's never happened either. So
Right. But this is the point here. This China moves toward control of Solomon Islands.
they can only cry wolf so many times. Who owns the Solomon Islands?
I don't even know where they're at. I think Japan owns them, no?
I don't know what they are, but if they're NATO owned, guess what, China? It's gonna happen to you too.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen in NATO because I don't think they're anywhere near NATO's territory.
Yeah.
But the point is that China's moving now too. I mean, I remember me and Mike having discussions about this, all these bluffs all the time. They say these things all the time. Like, I'd love to hear Mike, back on the episode talking about Ukraine now, because we would talk about, oh, this is going to happen. Russia's going to, oh, they always threaten that stuff. Well, Russia actually went into Ukraine, so now let's see what China's going to do. It may not be just business as usual.
Yeah, did that have anything to do with the current country leadership?
Like, I don't even know, and I don't even know the significance of Solomon Islands. I'm not well versed on that. Never went there.
I'm glad you pulled this headline.
Mm-hmm. Well, I pulled the headline because it's China. It's China doing something while all this is happening. And here, I'll even let's go to the next one because I think they're all related. FBI warns of cyber attacks on U.S. food plants.
I saw on the book, because it's always official from the book. I don't know how true or not it was. Someone said they actually researched it and blah blah blah. But they warned of a food shortage in this country, and then it just listed a whole bunch of these food places that caught fire or something happened to it or a car drove through it, and it just listed like, I don't know, 10, 15 of them. Coincidence?
Yep, there's a whole montage of them, and they're actually news reports of all these planes crashing and this and that.
Yeah, a plane crashing the one. Yes, I didn't go and research to see if every one of those places was true, but it's out there.
Well, the consensus is they're actually from news reporting local news agencies. So that's what they're saying, at least on the montage. So yeah, so what's going on? Is this, you think it's an outside job? You think it's an inside job? You think it's coincidence?
So now the FBI is warning the cyber attacks on food plants. So I'm going to assume cyber attacks are going to start happening now because they warned of it, right?
Well, what about actual attacks? Did they know about those?
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. They didn't. Yeah. Well, the president warned of a food shortage. He didn't say why.
Right. And then the FBI sitting there. Wow. So that's the ninth one with a plane and a fire. I bet you they're probably going to cyber attack us.
Unleash the cyber attacks.
Like what? You don't find that like I mean,
I would hate to think that your country would harm its own country. I would hate to think that.
yeah, but do you? Do you think those 9/11 conspiracy people who believe that this was either an inside job or it was allowed to happen, do you believe that? Or do you believe there's just that much incompetence?
Wait, so when you say inside job, are you saying they hire these terrorists to get on the planes? Because I'm sure there are terrorists on the planes because the one plane that they try to stop the terrorists, they actually called their family members and said, hey, we're being attacked and we're attacking back. So they saying they hired those terrorists to hijack that plane? Is that it? That what the same inside job is?
Are you saying we've never hired guerrillas in foreign countries to do things so it didn't look like us doing it?
I'm not. I'm just asking the question.
That's my point. So yeah, inside job could be somehow you trace the money or trace it back, and it comes back to some American citizen. I would say an American citizen in politics, but
I mean, so I don't think you need an inside job to go after terrorist groups.
well, I'm not saying
but
that's the case. Like I'm not saying that that's the case that it happened, but I'm saying it's not hard to believe that we've gone into other countries and hired local militias and those guerrilla forces to do something.
And we know the government has tested products on people without them knowing it before in this country.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm sure. I mean, you would think.
So it doesn't give credence to some of these conspiracy theorist people, and
it
yet,
could, yeah, it could.
And I'm not saying I'm willing to go on the edge and believe all that stuff, but I mean, look what we're looking at. These food plants. This is coincidence? It could be, right? Could be coincidence. It's a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
So what is it? You think we're being attacked by outside people? Do you think, I mean, our own president said there's going to be a food shortage, and then all of a sudden all these food places go, like, what is it? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you've got to determine this. I mean, you're in enemy lines. You're across the border in enemy territory, and you've got to observe all these things happening. You got to put together something so you can react. What are you doing? What do you do with this? You know what I mean? Like, warn of cyber attacks? Like, there's been literal attacks.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what are these people incompetent? Are they just that stupid? Like, what does that matter if there are literally fires and planes crashing? And what does that matter? Like, why not just come out and say that food's under attack by who? And you don't know who? You haven't figured out all these coincidences, or are they all coincidences? Maybe they are.
They haven't found who started all those fires yet.
Right. You know what I'm saying? They can get a phone call from a president and impeach him over it, but they can't figure out who started a fire or who the guy was flying the plane that landed into the. Are you serious? Like, there's got to be a connection here. I mean, are you kidding me? You know what I mean?
But then again, these are just who was part of the January 6th erection, but not find out who's setting fires. And I'm saying
they could track down. Yep, they could track down somebody from the January 6th erection or January 6th erection. Sorry, I messed up my own. But they can't figure out who the guy is that lit a fire or crashed into his food. Like, come on, man. I mean, do they really expect us to believe this stuff?
Obviously, because they're still trying it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we do believe it, right? Because most people say, are we just here? Is this a coincidence or not? I'm not going to outright call it a conspiracy because I guess, I don't know. But I'm telling you, if I'm using my gut, this is too much coincidence. Yeah, it's too much coincidence.
Yeah.
And then the Biden says food shortage. The FBI is now warding a cyber attack, and they've all these things. Like, how stupid do we have to be to believe that this wasn't already happening? So,
is that how you start socialism?
Maybe. I mean, think about it. Think about it. Like, we've already crippled our oil industry. We've crippled that. Our transportation has been crippled because of that. I mean, now you're saying there's going to be food shortages, and then all of a sudden all these food plants. Oh, so you know what it made it may be this. It may not be attention to disrupt the food. It may be a reason. Hey, let's find a way to blame this on the food industries, so it's not my policies. That could be too. And that goes back to the question where you were saying you'd hate to believe Americans would do something or citizens, but think about that. They might do that. Our government is fully capable of protecting their own ass by trying to get a scapegoat. You know what I mean? So yeah, they might do that.
Like I said, I would hate to think they would, but then again, they have before in the past. So
sure. And they call it. They look over in Russia and Ukraine. They talk about battle and collateral damage and things like that. We all know it happens. You know what I mean? So for the greater good in your eyes, and you call it good, whether everybody else agrees or not, but for the greater good, the ends justify the means. That whole concept. I was talking about, it's really interesting conversation. I had another guy, because you remember that, that question they talk about, like if you knew what you knew now and could go back in time and you had a chance to or whatever, would you do it? It's a good question, right?
Right. Yeah, it is.
But as much as Hitler did bad, was there any good that came out of that? I think, if I'm not mistaken, many of our cancer treatments came from what Hitler did. Radiation and chemotherapy, I think, came from
I'm not well versed in Hitler and what it came from.
Well, that's what I understood. Maybe it's not true.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know either.
Understood that came out of those experiments. So if that's the case, if that is true, then how many lives since then? So it's a tough argument. And I'm not saying I support it, but I also wouldn't go back and kill somebody just to, that's ridiculous. That's just, you're doing almost the same thing. I'm not going to kill somebody regardless unless I absolutely have to. So, all right, we'll go to the last one because we'll sit here all day and it looks like my internet's getting crappy again too. Joe Rogan mocks Brian Stelter and CNN Minus after spectacular demise of CNN Plus. We've already talked about this before, right? We did. But now it's official, right? They made it a month and then they had to cancel. Yeah. And an interesting argument about this, they said, who wants to watch this crap? But then they said, well, Jerry Springer's been on for 20, 30 years. The Inquirer has been published year after year after year. So people probably watch that garbage. A fake news network that sells, reliable or trusted news or whatever.
Jerry Springer is not fake news. That shit is real.
I don't know why they couldn't get the subscribers. That and the WWIII, right?
Yeah.
People were crushed when they found out that was fake.
That's fake?
So, yeah. So, yeah, right?
Oh, man.
I'm sorry. Did I spoiler? Well, they got the WWF now, right? Isn't that what it is? WWF.
The WWF sued. The World Wildlife Federation sued. So that's why they changed their name to the WWE.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it used to be? What was it in the beginning? It was WWF.
It was WWF,
right?
But the World Wildlife Federation sued because they already had WWF. They didn't want to confuse wrestling with Wildlife Federation. So they had to change it to, World Wrestling Entertainment or whatever the E is instead, yeah.
Because the stupid people in this country will run out and wrestle flamingos and stuff because because they're just, that's dumb, right?
I remember it was going to be a thing over the Las Vegas Golden Knights and the Army Golden Knights, like you're going to confuse the two. Like the hockey team in the Army. Like the hockey team in the Army.
Well, I mean, think about that. That to me, I thought there was some grip in that because to me, they're notorious. Like World Wildlife, like nobody knows what that is. That's not some. Unless you're in that realm, everybody who's in Army Knights were, right? Well, maybe they're not that popular either. I guess it's a big difference if you at a food store and named it Subways. You know what I mean? Like,
right? Yeah.
You can't just do that.
Well, I think it's time we pull the pin on this episode.
Yeah, we're gonna thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Nate, for showing up. You're always good to have a conversation with. We hope some more people get on because we want some more opinions. Clearly, we don't mind getting into conversations, and I know there's some of you out there. Some of you who's on the show a lot, having arguments on social media. So take some here, come have an argument with us.
We
Always
don't
welcome
argue. We have discussion.
on the show. Well, we can call it whatever you want to call it. Disagreements, arguments, discussions, whatever. We can go out in the pit and roll around, whatever. But either way, get on the show.
Ooh.
And if you don't know how, there's a website right on the bottom. So until then, Godspeed.
And pull up and ready. Boom.
Thanks for joining us here at Pull the Pin Already. We hope you had as much fun as we did. If you like what we do, go ahead and hit that like button and share this video with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you don't miss out on any of our future episodes. But most importantly, leave a comment below. Let us know if you agree or disagree with our opinions. Hope to see you here next time on Pull the Pin Already.